What's going on, Respect the Hedges family and the Dog Nation? We are back for another episode of Respect the Hedges on the Fan Addict Sports Network, man. Let's go ahead and jump into this thing.
Georgia on the logo, celebrating back-to-back Nats. Perfection wears red and black tonight. 15-0, the Dogs have done it and won a second consecutive national.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. Not again.
Leaf Booker to get the night started. Downfield looking for Godwin. Into his hands. And guess which dogs are barking first? Uga, get after it. Sonny Michelle will send the Dogs home to the championship game.
And Bobo throws that thing in the end zone and...
Yes! Touchdown! Touchdown in the goal line!
Sigue Ringo, corta dentro, Ringo, touchdown! Georgia!
Georgia Bulldogs bludgeon their way to back-to-back. Glory, glory. Georgia, as the fight song says.
This is our love for each other. 1 + 1 = what? 3. We are better together and we are connected.
This is Robert Iron E. Singleton, a.k.a. D-Dog from The Walking Dead, or Alton from The Blind Side, and you are watching Respect the Hedges on the Fan Addict Sports Network. All right, guys, go Dogs, sick 'em.
That's right, man. We're back in here for another round with the fellas, man. Hey, we're going to be talking some UGA versus their SEC West opponents. We're going to talk SEC West contenders, look at the Georgia schedule for 2024, and a lot more, man. So without further ado, you know we always brought to you by the Tailgate Kings. All right, man, we're going to bring in our panel as usual, man. Y'all keep our guy E-Rob in your thoughts. He had a little food poisoning going on. We're going to call him Flu Game E because that's what Jordan actually had, food poisoning. So, but without further ado, man, let's go ahead and bring in one of my co-hosts, Mr. Jevaris Johnson. What's going on, JB?
Hey, what's going on, Coach? Another
Chilling,
great
man.
evening to be here on the Fan Addicts, Respect the Hedges. Excited about talking about the West. I'm going to have my game a little bit better prepared this week, but let's get at it, man. Let's talk about it. I'm excited.
That's right, man. Hey, another one of our co-hosts, man, in the building. We got Mr. Corey Allen. What's going on, CA?
Man, I'm glad to be here, man. See if I can figure out what's going on in the West. We got a lot to look forward to here in the conference overall, especially with that schedule dropping, just like you mentioned. So, I'm excited to be here back with the fellas. Shout out to E-Rob. Hope he recovers from that flu game as soon as possible, man.
That's right. That's right. Bring up on another one of our co-hosts, man, Mr. Shawty Parker. What's going on with that? We can't hear you, dog. You might be muted. We're going to put that back in the old backstage so he can get his audio together and put some more qualities in.
I wasn't going to do
it.
That's right, man. Hey, y'all know we talk Dogs all day, every day, man, but we got to look at the West to see who the Dogs, like I say, presumptively might be playing in the SEC championship, man. We down a few members, but we're going to make it do what it do today, man. Like y'all already know who in the building first. She said she guessed this show is necessary so we can see who we play in the SEC championship. Go Dogs.
Makes sense.
Shelby McDonald. That's right. My boy B Sheezy checking in. The champs are here. That's right. The champs are here. And we're here to figure out if we can do it once again in 2023, man. Hey, how you feeling, CA? How you feeling about the 2023 season, man?
I'm excited, man. Everybody's been complaining about the schedule, but we just got to line up and play who's in front of us. I mean, you never know what they might look like when it comes time for game week. The transfer portal will continue to change rosters up until week 1. So, I don't care what's on the schedule. We just have to compete against it. I think we've got a strong team when we look at what's coming back as far as the cupboard being and staying full. Kirby's done a good job on recruiting. So nothing for me not to be excited about. We got a new quarterback that needs to step in and figure out his role. We got coordinators that are coming in, that are proven, that need to continue to prove themselves. And we got a roster that's ready to roll, and last year doesn't matter. So we got to figure out what we got on deck for this year, and I'm excited, Coach.
That's it, man. You said it. Last year does not matter. Them championships from the last 2 years ain't going to do no winning for us on the field this year. So, JV, how you feeling, man, going into the season, dog?
Hey, man, I'm going to say just straight up, to everything that CA just said. Essentially, man, everybody complaining about the fact that we don't play anybody on our schedule. So I guess they're right. At that point, I don't have anything else to say or talk about, because we're gonna actually have to meet up with anyone who matters when we get to the SEC championship game. That's all it is. And of course, just like CA said, with the stable, with the people that Kirby continuously is bringing in on a year in and year out basis. I mean, you look at the track record right now. If he's not your 1A, he has to be your 1B. Consider only because of longevity. This man is doing a great job in 16. We trust, baby. That's what we got. I have no concerns.
There it is, man. Let's see if I got Dad. You ready to rock and roll with us, my man? I don't think so. Oh, we can hear you. Can we hear you?
Man, I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me?
We got you. We got you, dog.
Hey, look here, man. I don't know what's going on with my new setup going on, man. I must have hit some bad settings or something. Hey, Shelby, I don't appreciate you talking about my background. That might be what it was, though. You know what I'm talking
about? How you feeling about the upcoming season there, Thad, man? Hey, technical difficulties and all.
Well, before I get in that, man, I want to say shout out to E-Rob too, man. We was able to hang out a little bit this weekend. I hope you get to feeling a little better. Shout out to L. No pictures required. With that being said, going into the season, I'm gonna kind of piggyback off what the guys said. It's gonna be a tough season, a long season. You kind of want to say those things, but in reality, I mean, I really don't see it that way, but it sounds good to say. You know what I mean? I think we're going to beat up on this schedule that we have. I don't want to jump the gun. We do have some challenges. I mean, you have to play the game. You just can't, put on the uniform and get the W. With that being said, we're going to go into details. I don't want to jump the gun. Let's go, man. Let's get it.
That's right, man. We're going to jump into this thing, man. We're going to start off talking about some players to watch in the SEC West. I think at the top of both divisions, with Georgia and Tennessee, I think we can kind of go toe-to-toe with the top of their division. But we know the SEC West is deeper than the East. And they got a lot of players over there, man. Speaking of one, Mr. Quinshawn Judkins from Ole Miss, they are on our schedule. This dude led the SEC in rushing last year. He was a true freshman. We thought Zach Evans was going to carry that torch, and he came in and say, step aside, my man. I'm going to run this thing on back. And then, listen, I say players to watch, but also positions or coaches to watch. Bobby Petrino, the new OC at Texas A&M. You got Tommy Rees from Notre Dame down at Alabama as the OC. Everybody trying to improve their offense because they watched what them dogs did last year. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to keep pace. So we got that on the offensive side. And on the defensive side, we got another guy that was a freshman last year, Mr. Harold Perkins Jr. from LSU, who was ripping it up. We got to play against him. We won that battle. And who knows, we might get to see that dude again in Atlanta this coming fall. You got, what's his name? Dallas Turner, the edge from Bama. And then Kevin Steele, the new DC, or what I say, returning DC. This is third stint at Alabama since they trying to figure out what's going on, man. Anybody else that I didn't mention or any of those guys y'all got any opinions on, JV?
Hey, Coach, first of all, you can't go first no more, man. You just took every last.
Right. I don't know why he did that. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the list. I'm like, just run down the name, Coach.
Right. Won't you just keep on getting said, man? I'm just saying. This was my list. I only had 4. Actually, I had 6 guys. Okay. But the first 4 was number 1, Jaden Daniels for LSU, because I think he's going to be extremely important. He had a good season, a good showing last year on what they could do if they have an adequate quarterback at the helm. But following up Jaden Daniels, I had Quinshon Judkins. Then I had Harold Perkins. And then the last guy I had as far as offense goes is Jalen Monroe, because in an Alabama offense, he's going to have to make plays, not with his legs, but he's going to have to make plays with his arm to prove that he can do it. Defenses aren't going to let him just Michael Vick them all day. I know Kirby's not going to let him do that. And it's going to be early in the season. They're going to test this young man. We're going to see if he's going to make Saban smile or slam down the visor. Those are my top 4. And then I had Dallas Clark too, man.
Hey,
on the back end for the defense.
That's a good call on that Jalen Monroe, because he is in a quarterback battle. Take time to shout out Coach Tony Gilbert, man. Listen, Tony, shout out to the DGD.
What's up,
man.
PG?
Listen, we know you busy down there with the coaching, man. We got to get you on the show, my guy. But yeah, man, like that West is gonna be a lot dependent upon Jalen Monroe and Tyler and Ty Simpson and Tyler Buckner to transfer from Notre Dame. I don't know why Nick Saban went out and got so many things from Notre Dame, the OC and the quarterback. I mean, it's not like Notre Dame was all that last year, but maybe Nick Saban say he can do, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it tells you a lot, first of all.
Must be a scheme situation. He must like something about that scheme. Need a guy to come in and knows how to show it and practice it. But he still need the players. You know, whether he's got that in the transfer or already on the roster is yet to be seen.
I mean, they were a top 10 program when they.
Yeah.
Notre Dame.
To your point, Coach.
Yeah.
To your point, Coach. New OC coming in. Normally, the OC has been to the knee of what the wheel has been, which has been Saban. But is he bringing in new terminology with the new crop of players with, you know, not having the dynamic guys on the outside to be able to run some of the offense that made them so good in the past few years? So is he going to something a little different where now the players have to adjust to the new or to a new terminology or scheme? That would make sense bringing in a quarterback that already knows it.
Hey, that you right about that. That's a good point. And like you say, they don't have, I'm not saying they can't develop into, but they don't have those guys like they used to have on the outside. You can just pretty much toss it up to them and they take it away. Shawty, any other players in the West that you looking forward to that we ain't already mentioned?
Well, like JV said, the quarterback from LSU, I think he's going to be very pivotal in how these guys have a chance to win, not only win, but run the SEC West. I think, you know, he's going to be the major catalyst because he's, in my opinion, he's probably the top returning quarterback coming back in the conference in totality. Maybe the guy from Arkansas, but he's not better than Jaden Daniels. And I also had Mingo. I want to see what Mingo is going to do for Ole Miss. Big body frame receiver. Ole Miss like to toss the ball around. I want to see if he can possibly go ahead and get his first 1,000-yard season in that particular offense. And also Harold Perkins from LSU. I think he's going to probably be one of the top defenders coming back. And we want to see if he can, you know, kind of, you know, not get the sophomore slump and pick up on that sophomore season that he had.
That's it, man. I wrote that down too. That sophomore slump is real business, but if you that guy, you should be able to overcome it. Hey, AP in the building. What's going on,
Brock
Antonio? Yeah, Brock did. I knew you. I was gonna say it. Listen, I was gonna say it, JB, but you know, I know you was thinking it, so I'll let you have that one.
I appreciate you.
Just set him up. He'll knock it down.
At least you left me something.
All right, man. Staying in the West, man. We talking about the coaches. That's all. Listen, you got to have the Jims and Joes, but you also got to have the people at the helm. Everybody knows what Nick Saban can do. Looks like Brian Kelly coming in the SEC and trying to establish his footprint here. And then you always got Lane Kiffin because we have to play against Lane Kiffin. let's talk about them a little bit. Shawty, Brian Kelly, and Lane Kiffin, man. Like, I mean, who the better coach? Who you taking in a 1-game scenario on the neutral field?
I mean, you got to go with Brian Kelly if you're just talking about, the better coach. His resume speaks for itself. I mean, you have to go with Brian Kelly. And on top of that, I think he has the better team and the better talent. I can see Ole Miss, hanging in there because they can score points. Any team that can score points scares me. But ultimately, I think they just got the better Jimmy Joe, the better coach from top to bottom. And I don't see them causing a problem if they play head-to-head.
There it is, JB. We may end up playing both of these coaches. We got Lane on the schedule, but we might play Brian again, man. What you got on the head-to-head Brian Kelly, Lane Kiffin?
Hey, man, I'm going to have to ride with Shawty, man. Brian Kelly just has, first of all, he has the better pedigree and record history. You see what he's done, taking over a team that he turned around, essentially, and took them to the SEC championship game. And he turned them around early in the season, because they didn't look as good as they did early. I like the fact that, besides his fake accent and some of the whack stuff he did, in the recruiting game, as far as trying to put on a little bit, seriously, I think he's a good coach. You've seen it. He's done it. And so, one thing I'm always concerned about Lane with Kiffin, I think he lets his emotions kind of get the better of him. Especially doing high profile and high pressure games, and he'll do something like go for it on his own 3-yard line. Yeah. I mean, stuff like that'll just give the other team a serious heads up, some serious momentum that Brian Kelly just doesn't do, in my opinion. So, I have to get a nod to Brian Kelly.
Okay. Hey, CA. So with that battle, man, I mean, LSU did come in, and Brian Kelly came in, and he had some quick success. So sometimes you can be a victim of your own success. Now people expect you to make that next jump. And then Lane Kiffin always get talked about as quote unquote the offensive guy, but who's under the most pressure? I mean, is it LSU down there and Brian Kelly? They're expecting a nattier performance, or is Ole Miss like, Lane, hey man, you got to get us to the title game, or it's time to start looking elsewhere?
That's a good question. Oddly enough, I'm not sure who's under the most pressure. I think when you look at it outside in, it probably looks more like Lane because he's been there longer. But I hold them in the same regard. I think they're the same. I think they're a mirror image. Neither one has really proven it in the big game. They can do well with a lot of talent, especially on the offensive side. But they don't separate themselves from one another, in my opinion. I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I got skipped on the first question. I think I chimed in, and then Coach skipped me, and I didn't get a chance to say that the quarterback position in the West is really what I'm looking at. We already mentioned KJ Jefferson, but even Ole Miss, they got Jackson Dart, but Spencer Sanders did come in, and he's going to be competing for the job. We also got to look at Will Rogers. I think he's coming back at Mississippi State with the new coach, if I'm not mistaken. So that's I think correct. The quarterback position is going to really dictate a lot of what's going on. We already know Jalen is the best, or Jaden Daniels is the best returning starter. So I think that quarterback competition will dictate, how the West turns out. Alabama's always in the picture. But as far as the coaches, I think Lane Kiffin has a lot to prove this year. I think he's got the better team. When you look at what he had as opposed to last year, I know LSU has the better quarterback, but I like the running back at Ole Miss. We all mentioned highlight players from Ole Miss. Yeah, I think that's going to show up, in the schedule and on the season, because they don't have a tough out of conference. None of us do in the league, to be honest with you. I'm looking across the board. It's not impressive in the SEC when you look out of conference, but I know why, because it's tough in the league. So. Yeah, those are the players I want to highlight. As far as Brian Kelly, Lane Kiffin, I got them side by side until somebody wins a ship.
I got you with that. They definitely got to prove it on the big stage, man. Like, we're going to move on. So UGA does have to play 2 West opponents each year. We know that. First up is Ole Miss. Some of the people we've been talking about. This was supposed to be Erik Robinson. Shawty, what you got on it, man? I'm going to try to help you out if you need a little fill-in, man. But what you got on that UGA Ole Miss, man? How they going to try to, what's their strengths going in the game? Whether they can execute or not, but what's their strengths going into the game?
Well, for Ole Miss, it's obviously going to be the offense. I mean, they're another team who takes on the personality of the head coach, and they're very, offensive heavy. And I actually look for Zach Evans to contribute. He's still there, right?
I think he might. I think he's still there. No. He declared for the league. He ain't there. It's just,
Okay.
yeah. It's just Quinshawn.
All right, but no, offensively, I just expect for them to be able to cause some problems. I don't think they necessarily, have any kind of style or the players that's going to cause us problems. Their best chance is to score points, and that's going to be few and far between for anybody to do on us. But that's going to be their best chance to outscore us. Because defensively, I just don't think they match up well with us from our offensive standpoint.
Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, you can ask me that question about almost anyone in the league, and I would say the same thing. Other than possibly not to switch gears, is Alabama, because they have that one thing that all coaches at this particular time. I don't know who's going to be the starter. I'm assuming number 4 is going to be the starter. But they have that position that scares all coaches on defense, which is a running quarterback, because that evens the numbers up when it comes to the blocking scheme. So other than that, I would say the same about anybody, not just Ole Miss.
Okay. Ole Miss did. What's funny is Ole Miss hired Alabama's DC, Pete Golden. Alabama fans wasn't too happy with him, but Ole Miss started giving up 35 points plus a game towards the back end of that season, so Lane had to do something. They brought in a transfer from James Madison. James Madison had a real good year last year. This guy is actually coming into the season rated as the second best D lineman in the SEC. His name Isaac Ukwu, and he's like, him and Jared Ivey are the two best tandem guys in the SEC as far as the defensive line and how they grade Pro Football Focus and On 3 and things of that nature. Now, will they be able to do that in Athens? I don't believe so. I do believe they will try to take advantage of our young tackles, or inexperienced, I should say, tackles. But I think
they do have a decent end coming back that may get drafted.
Yeah, that's Jared. That's Jared Ivey.
Yeah.
So and we gonna be starting a new left tackle. And we got Amarius Mims, who's played plenty of snaps, but he's never been the starter over there at right tackle. So I think that's how they'll try to attack us when they come to Athens. And then, of course, ball control. I mean, even if Quinshawn ain't getting no yards, he still got to feed the monster. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing about our defense. I don't even know if you can play ball control against us. Because, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I would say on average, most offenses per drive make it 7 plays.
Okay.
Because it's a very good chance we're going to be getting most guys 3 and out. I don't see people just, having 12 and 15 play drives on any consistent basis.
But
so that's why I said what makes it hard for me to say. I don't know what type of way they could attack us. I really don't.
Well, we talked about it on the previous show how we're looking to see who's gonna be that dog on the line, that Jalen Carter, that to stop the middle, that Jordan Davis. So even if they're not successful, if you was Lane Kiffin, wouldn't you try to attack us right up the middle?
I would, we always say that against a Georgia defense, but that's something that Kirby defense, he's not going to let you run the ball.
Wait a minute. So Thad, let me ask you a question more direct then. What would you do as an offensive coordinator? What plan of attack would you have against?
Like I said in the beginning, see, I'm going balls to the wall. I'm going to try to outscore you.
Ooh,
I'm saying, but that's my only shot. That's my offensive only shot I got. Every time I get the ball, I need to score.
So okay.
Now, because I'm gonna tell you what ultimately, just being devil's advocate, we don't know what Georgia got on the other side of the ball pulling the trigger. I don't know if they can score like us or not.
That's true. Okay.
You don't know if you can score though. That's what I'm saying. Like that's just a far fetch.
But that's my only shot. It's a far fetch. Just putting on the uniform, coming to Athens that day or wherever we play on it. I'm just trying to make a conversation.
Yeah. Shout out to King Zay Green, man. He say, "What's up, my dogs?" In the building. B Sheezy say, "Throw the ball." I'm thinking like. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, honestly,
we got the highest rated secondary coming back, don't we? I mean, you can do that, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean,
look,
when I
you
say,
go ahead.
You picking your poison.
Half a dozen of them, right?
There you go.
We talking about a colander or strainer. They both got holes in them. Which one got the biggest hole? Which one do you think that you can capitalize on the most? To Shawty's point, Herb ain't letting nobody just run. But with that being said, Kiffin is supposed to be the offensive whistle, right? So I'm quite sure we'll see some things that might knock us off. But the only issue they're going to have is they're going to be seeing us late in the season. So they're not getting early mistake Georgia defense and Georgia football.
Good point.
Even those tackles, they're going to be seasoned well. They're going to be well seasoned. I'm talking about Tony Catchery season by the time we get to Ole Miss. So realistically, they're going to have a tough pill to swallow on either side of the ball.
That's true.
Because that's just what we do.
And that's a good point, JV, about how they playing us late in the season, man. We're going to have a little bit more experience up under our belt. Like I say, I don't think a lot of this stuff is going to be successful, but as a coach, you got to have a plan of attack, whether you can actually execute it or not, is a different story. So,
listen,
go ahead.
Hey, Cole, man, it's going to be a long season. But I hate to say, just being honest with myself, I'm really sitting here thinking, and they just don't have the person. I really don't, as a coach, I'm just being honest with myself. I don't know what I'm going to do, man. I don't have the personnel. We're going to come, we're going to fight, we're going to play hard. Yeah. And coach, at the end of the day, all I can do is try to outscore you. I mean, that's the only thing I can see. I ain't got no other shot, no shot nowhere else. Because I can't run against the man. That's been proven over the 7 years he's been here.
Yeah.
The best thing I got going for my team is the offensive side of my ball. I ain't got no choice to try to outscore you. And you gotta hope this is one of those games. One of those games where you
something like that. My fault. I didn't mean to shot.
No, you good. I was just saying it could be one of those games where you think, like JV said, is later in the season, and maybe we catch them kind of sleepy a little bit, not playing kind of hard, maybe overlooking us. That type of thing.
Yeah.
But that's the only shot they got.
I got you. But hey, man, on to the next West opponent, UGA, and as JV so eloquently calls them, Slauburn. We still got them every year, man. They brought Hugh Freeze back into the fold, man, trying to vitalize that program. What y'all got on that, JV, that UGA versus Auburn? Again, a team that may not be able to execute against us, but if Hugh Freeze is who we think he is, how he gonna try to attack us?
You know what? I really respect Hugh Freeze. I respect that he's done what he's done in the places where he's working with less, and he's damn sure working with less at Auburn. If Shawty is perplexed at how Ole Miss is gonna attack us, I'm damn sure perplexed at how Auburn is going to attack us. They got a returning running back. He's a really, really good running back. I don't see him rushing for 60 yards. They just don't have the Jimmies and the Joes, and they don't have what Auburn has normally had, which has been a seasoned quarterback. Even though Bo Nix has been our favorite friend, he still is a seasoned guy who might give you some plays. And from time to time, they've had some Joes who you respected. Not to say that an athlete in the SEC should not be respected, but if you're at Slauburn right now, you are a basketball school pretending to play football on Saturdays. So that's what we're going to be looking up at. I don't know how we're going to put it like this. This is going to be, I think, number 22 out of 18 years. Yeah. This is going to be one of those games where it should be over early. I'm talking about maybe second quarter, at worst, early third type of scenario. And I don't care when we play Auburn. Beginning of the season, middle of the season, end of the season, is going to be the same scenario because they're in just that bad of a shape, in my opinion.
I got you. Ben Shaw, me and him talked about this. This is the Deep South's oldest game. This is no longer the oldest rivalry. This is the Deep South's oldest game. CA putting your coach's hat on. you know you outman with the Jimmies and Joes. You know you coming into Athens and facing the Dogs. But you got to have a plan, right? Even if the plan don't work. What you trying to do if you offer?
It is hot.
I don't respect Hugh Freeze. I don't give a damn what he's done. They got 3 offensive players returning and 8 on defense. It's worse. It is worse than what's going on in Ole Miss or any other institution right now. They can't expect to compete coming in with that level of turnover. They got a new offensive coordinator. This is a show-up game. We're going to try to – it's a rivalry. I don't care how bad their asses have been getting kicked. They right over there across the border talking all that trash. Too close. We hear you. So, come on over. You got to come on to Athens and get what you earn, and it ain't going to be pretty. But I don't feel like they have any options aside from ball control, trick plays, and, trying to throw it deep to try to surprise somebody on first down. Aside from that, lining up and going head up with my guys ain't gonna work with Auburn.
I think you're right. I think Hugh Freeze first year, he ain't got nothing to lose. He might have some triple reverses and
reverse on the kickoff, like we did against Florida back in '96. You got to pull it all out.
Hey, you got to figure it out.
I got him at 5.5 wins or something like that.
Yeah, E-Rob checking in. What's going on, E-Rob? He said he'd be perplexed, man. Like if he was like the other team just ain't gonna know what's going on. Listen, again, I don't think a lot of these plans gonna work, but hey, they got to talk about something during the week when they get ready to face us, though. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Hey, Coach, it's kind of like this right here, and I'm not saying this to this extent. Trust me, I'm not saying this, but it's almost like like a Southern Mississippi coming in to play Georgia. Oh. Yeah, y'all got a plan all week long, but do you really think, what I'm saying, you got a shot? I know you got to sell the dream. I get it. You know what I'm saying?
So we ain't gonna call no names, but that's what we talking about. It's different.
Yeah. Hey, AP chiming in and say, JV, your rant sound like it was a little personal, dog.
Hey man, when I say hate, I done carried this hate all my life. I wouldn't even take no official visit to Auburn. That's how much I hate it.
Oh, God.
So put that on it.
I like that.
Okay, switching gears, man, off of the Dogs, man. So, who are the West contenders? Who might have that chance to go to Atlanta and then try to play for the title, JV? Who you got at it?
Well, man, let's not make a mistake about this. It's still all roads still go through Tuscaloosa. Saban is Saban. He's prepared his teams. He done won championships with McElroy, the likes of McElroy and whoever else he had before him. So, you got to respect the game that comes out of Tuscaloosa, and then following them up, man. I'm going to say LSU because we saw what they could do with an adequate quarterback. That adequate quarterback had a year in their system. He did have some injuries toward the end of last year, but still, he has the goods to be able to make them a formidable team. I think they have a good scheme, and they got a hellacious player on defense, Mr. Harold Perkins. Mm-hmm. So I think they're going to kind of follow that last year season up with a pretty formidable season this year. We're going to be definitely looking out for that LSU and Alabama game because that's going to, in my opinion, decide who's going to win the West. And then everybody else is kind of like, sunflower seeds and dice. You can just throw them all out there and they'll mix together, but you can't tell.
That was hard.
That was hard. Hey, shout it.
JVism.
Hey, yeah, that's a JVism for shizzle. Hey, so Shawty, is it LSU and Alabama, man? Is it November? Is it the first Saturday in November, and that's all we waiting on in the West, man?
Well, look here, Coach. I think JV hit it on the head, but I'm a little bit, I'm going to be a little bit more direct in saying LSU. And the reason I'm going to say LSU, I got both LSU and Alabama both winning 10.5 games, right?
Okay.
But the difference is LSU got Bama got Tennessee, LSU, and Texas on the schedule. LSU only got Bama themselves. They don't play none of them other teams. So they got an easier road. Even though Bama could be better, their schedule could be the reason why they don't make it to the SEC finals this year. So that's why I'm going with LSU.
I got you. Hey, CA, that brings up some good points, man, to have LSU at the top of the hill over there, man. Is it LSU and Bama? Can Bobby Petrino do something in College Station to make that offense look good so that they can have a shot there? We know they got the Jimmys and Joes in Texas A&M.
True. Texas A&M does have a roster full of talent. Bringing it together to beat Alabama and LSU and compete for the West probably going to be a little too tough of a task. I think it is an LSU-Alabama race, but I think it's definitely going to be a race. I don't think LSU is the clear front runner because Alabama's roster is going to always make sure that they're in the game. So they got, 11 on both sides of the ball. LSU got Harold Perkins. We need to figure out what else is going on in that D line because they got to be able to create pressure and stop the run game that Alabama will show up with. So definitely between those two, in my opinion, I think Texas A&M got a lot of talent on their roster, but pulling it together, I don't believe in Bobby Petrino.
Well, listen, man.
All the head, man.
Listen, I would tell a shorty I wouldn't let my son go to College Station if they were giving out who knows what money
on a visit.
Boy, ain't there some slime and some sleazy folks over there?
But what I will say is,
I don't know where he going to Texas if he brings some oil back.
Hey, Petrino have been able to put up points everywhere he's been, so they ain't got no character out there. But we'll see what they can put together. LSU, you made a good point, CA. Harold Perkins is that dude, but we want to see what else they got. He can't be a one-man band on that defense, not trying to challenge, in Titletown.
Look at that, guys. I'm going to say this. I'm sorry. I ain't going to cut y'all, Coach.
Oh, you good?
They could be in a situation now where they were like Alabama.
Yeah.
And just speaking in the West, that is, anybody they play, they could arguably have the best player on offense and defense in that game.
That's true. They actually got D lineman Makai. I want to say Makai Wingo. He's one of the top defensive tackles. Now, what the secondary looked like, they returned some guys, but we know the offense is going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? But you still, at the end of the day, man, you got to get them key stops in the fourth quarter. But you're right. They made Harold Perkins Jr. and Jaden Daniels together. Unless Dallas Turner, I'm interested to see what he got at Bama because he used to have Will Anderson on that other side, taking that attention away from him. Now, all the focus is on him. And all the double teams and the triple teams. Can he be as effective in the defensive run game, getting after the quarterback? And things of that nature, man. Chicken Biscuits checking in, say, let's go.
Chicken Biscuits.
E-Rob say that sunflower seeds and dice. We're going to have to get some banners.
Showed out with that one. That's a T-shirt waiting to have.
JV, baby.
That's right, man.
And one thing about Bama, though, real talk with Bama, is much as I like Bama, like CA said to his point earlier, I mean, we all know they're going to keep a very talented roster.
Yeah.
But I'm very heavy about this trigger man. If they don't get that trigger man together, man, I'm going to tell you what, they don't have some problems, man. And I don't care how talented they are. If they don't get that trigger man, I'm going to tell you what, if number 4 comes into the season as the starter, I'm feeling I like other folks' chances.
True.
Okay.
Not banging on the young man. I'm just saying he's not generally the caliber of player at the position that they generally have, and I think he gives other people in the conference a chance to win games.
That's right.
It ain't banging on him. We just saw what we saw. We seen what we seen, and we talking about what we feel because we know what we saw with our own eyes.
Well, if it were my damn opinion, I would be like that. I try not to, I try to be a little bit more lenient on him.
So me and Shawty was talking CA and JV. When is the last time we saw Alabama not have that dude at QB?
Well, it kind of depends on what you mean by that dude. Once again, I shall go back to McElroy being their quarterback and them winning. I don't think he was that dude, but he was capable. But if you want to think back to when they didn't have, when you doubted Alabama because of their quarterback wholeheartedly, I have to go back to maybe like those Franchione days, like man, or the shoe days.
I can't remember. Dennis Franchione.
I mean,
that's throwback right there.
even with McCarron though, man, he was a solid college
Capable.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Very capable. So, I have to go back to before Saban.
No idea.
And both of those guys were highly recruited too. Now you can't take that from them. They weren't like NFL players, but they were highly recruited high school players, so they weren't just bums.
Yeah. Like I said, I can't even lay that mantle at their feet. I have to go back before them.
Well, we'll see what they got. Like you say, Jalen Milroe was a 4-star. Ty Simpson was actually a 5-star. He was like the top 3 quarterback in his class. And Tyler Buckner coming over from Notre Dame, he was a high
triple option quarterback.
Hey, I'm just telling you, dog. He was a
5-star. But at least Simpson, look.
I don't do the rankings.
To the point though, man. Look, Milroe had to win that position. And win those snaps last year for a reason.
Yeah.
Maybe Simpson just wasn't ready, but he did almost have 1,000 yards while they had Bryce Young and Milroe playing last year. So, they saying that he's pushing Milroe. Look, right now Saban's trying to figure out how he can pull some DNA from both of them and grow their child in the lab. So I don't really think it's going to really change dramatically. They're going to have a guy who's going to be somewhat adequate enough to trot out there on that field and win that starting position. For me, because I'm not intimately connected with Bama right now, I'm doubting both. I'm doubting all 3 of these guys. Number one, I don't really care about the guy coming from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
No, that's just not what I'm worried about. And I've seen Milroe. So if I got to worry about a guy who threw for 930 some odd yards last year as the next threat, man, cue up the band.
Hey man, sound like the West is LSU's to lose. It's on Brian Kelly to see what they got last year. Like I say, they made it to the SEC championship with 3 losses. One of those being to Florida State, though. Outside of the SEC West. So we'll see what they got over there, man. Shawty always say styles make fights. We know top to bottom, we got the better roster, but looking at it from their perspective between LSU and Bama and possibly Texas A&M, if Bobby Petrino can, pull some magic out, who actually stylistically matches up better, Shawty, with the Dogs?
Well, I answered that question earlier by mistake. I apologize. Like I say, It's neither of those 2 particular teams. Yeah. I would say it would be Alabama. Is it Milroe's number? What's number 4's name?
Jalen Milroe.
Is that Milroe?
Yeah.
So because of his athleticism, I think because his athleticism and everything that he has around him in totality, I think Alabama presents the biggest matchup. And they may not even be better than the LSU.
Exactly.
We just talking about, once again, styles make fights. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So I just really think Alabama, because of his athleticism, because I don't care what you want to say, Kirby and Nick Saban both hate running quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Them are facts. And even if you don't want to admit it, it's just numbers. When you have a running quarterback, like I said earlier, it evens the playing field. Now you got 11 on 11. You can't play 10 on 11, and that's what a defensive coordinator hates, when the quarterback could be a running threat. So I think Alabama, to answer your question.
Okay, Alabama. So go ahead, CJ.
I was gonna say, do you identify Jaden Daniels as a running quarterback?
I was gonna ask that, CA.
I do, for sure. I do. I just think, me personally, just to differentiate the 2 teams in terms of who would be better in terms of matching up, I just think Alabama in totality would be a tougher matchup. I think we would beat LSU head to head. I think we got a better chance to beat them head to head with what they have and what they bringing back.
I got a slightly different.
And I said that earlier. I think LSU could win the West, but I also said Bama could be the better team. It's just because the LSU schedule is what may allow them to get to the West Championship.
I slightly disagree.
I got a slightly different take. I actually think it's LSU, but not with Jaden Daniels. I think with Nussmeier, because Nussmeier can actually really spin that ball. Like Jaden Daniels is good, and like Shawty said, his feet add that extra dimension. But the teams in the later years of Kirby right now that give us the problems be the guys that's on point with that passing, like the CJ Strouds, like the Bryce Youngs, and Nussmeier is the better spinner of the ball. We saw that even though we was already up 20, we saw that in the SEC championship.
But do you think he's going to supplant him?
I don't.
That's the starter?
That's what I say. I don't. But that's what I'm saying. Like I think LSU got we know they got the Jimmys and Joes. Alabama got the Jimmys and Joes. But I feel like the quarterback position, like you say, the trigger man, especially if listen. I don't think Brian Kelly's past, like if he's down, I think he could pull a Nick Saban and say, all right, Nussmeier, Daniels ain't getting it done in the first half. Let's see what you got. You know what I'm saying? I think he has the cojones, so to say, to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I would say LSU, JB, what you got on it?
I think I'm already kind of spoke to it, man. I'll say this. You mentioned two guys, CJ Stroud, and who was the other guy you mentioned?
Bryce
Young.
Yep.
Both of those guys have given us trouble, true enough, throwing the ball. But it's the added dimension of movement that really hurt our defenses when they've been making plays. Okay. So, with that being said, if Nussmeier comes in, yes, he has a strong arm, man, but to me, that's almost like putting the Kentucky quarterback back there in the backfield trying to spin that ball against us again. To Shawty's point, that added dimension of athleticism is what kind of throws us back on our heels whenever we are not back on our heels, which is very few in between. So, I really like Jaden Daniels because we didn't play against him when he was healthy. We didn't still kind of reeling from his injury. So he was a statue back there, especially after that first quarter.
Oh, he got that hit. He got hit too.
Yeah, we softened him up.
Yeah. So after we tenderized that meat. After we made it soft, we put it on the grill and we went on ahead and got him lifted. And so, seeing him come in healthy, I'll be interested to see what the offense looks like. I'm still not scared of him because I don't think he's that dynamic of a passer to, hurt us really bad in the passing game. And I don't think they have that. LSU always has receivers. They always have receivers. But our defense is just different. You got to have some special guys. And so, hey, listen, man, like I said, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. We ready. We put them all out there. I don't really care who you try out there. It's gonna be hell on everybody.
So, CA, you got a little different take? What you got on it?
Mine is really a lot more along the lines of yours, Coach. As far as I think LSU is not the better team. I think the better team is Alabama 22. When you look at 11 on offense and 11 on defense, but I think LSU has a better opportunity against Georgia because of the playmaker at the quarterback position, Malik Neighbors in that slot. They'll have to do what Thad said. You got to try to outscore us. I don't think Alabama would be in that position to outscore us. I don't think, looking at Milroe, when I look at what he's brought to the table, he's definitely dynamic. He got a lot of Mike Vick in him. I just don't see him connecting on those long passes. I don't see him taking advantage of that as much as I do Jaden Daniels, potentially because I've seen him throw the ball more. So they're both great players. Mobility on both sides. I think Daniels is a little bit better in the pocket and on broken plays, and I think that will present more of a threat to Georgia. I think Alabama's just going to try to line up and beat us, and I don't think they can do that anymore. So that's just my take on it.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, all good points, man. Like I say, the trigger man.
I'm listening.
I did say LSU was the better team.
You did. I did. I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that.
No, you literally just said. I said that Bama was not the better was the better team. Remember, I was saying I put it in two different folders. I was just going back to your point. I put it in two different folders. The only reason I said Bama had a better chance to beat us, just to answer the question, was because of the matchup at quarterback. But I did say LSU were the better team because I picked them to win the West.
Gotcha. And I'm saying I think Alabama's the better team.
Yeah.
I think LSU has playmakers on the offensive side. That was what I was saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
we'll take that.
to the point of the mobile quarterbacks, I don't think any coach likes to face a mobile quarterback, but the difference is, and this is why I'm not really worried about Jalen Milroe and all the running. I don't think Kirby is because he's kind of like Anthony Richardson. Yeah, he can run it fast. He's physical, but he can't throw it accurately. Like JV said, those quarterbacks that are mobile with the accurate arm are the ones that give us problems, not the guys that just run the ball. I mean, if you just run the ball, give you a couple first down. That might be it. But I mean, look at the guy from TCU. He's not super accurate. He ran it for a touchdown on us, and pretty much it. He's no Milroe, but Anthony Richardson is, if not better, and he didn't do nothing against us but throw interceptions for pick sixes. Like I say, you still at the end of the day, to beat Georgia, you got to be able to spin that thing. And that's the only reason why I would say I'm gonna go with LSU, man. But hey, in 2024, we'll get to see one of them quarterbacks at Alabama up close and personal, because they will be on the schedule, man. Like, let's take a look at that schedule next year. Not for nothing, man. Speaking to a lot of the haters outside the SEC, y'all say y'all want us to schedule 9 games and all that. Y'all got to take into consideration our out-of-conference games going forward. I mean, we open up with Clemson in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and I'm not gonna say Georgia Tech's a threat, but they are a Power 5 team. That's about as much props as they get. So, what we feeling about CA? How you feeling about that schedule? As a fan, man, you gotta love it. It's a lot of big games, though.
I'm going to Austin. I like it a lot. I mean, everything we want is on their schedule. So yeah, nothing to complain about, man. I mean, it's a beautiful sight. Each game looks to be interesting. I think the fan base and the players are excited. So this is what we've asked for years, competition across the board, get a chance to travel the country a little bit and show that this fan base is strong, not just in Athens, but in a road environment. So I like the schedule. I like what, the conference is doing. I'm glad we kept it at 8 games. But at the same time, I'm excited about what we got in front of us, especially with the mix of teams that we get to play. So,
Shawty, you looking forward to going to Tuscaloosa or Austin more in 2024?
Well, just because of the unfamiliarity, I would love to go to Texas. Just for, like CA said, he's actually going. I wouldn't mind going to that particular game myself. But for anybody who's everyone has always had some type of complaint about the SEC not being the best and strongest conference.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what, man. In 2024, with the addition of the new teams that we have, it shouldn't even be like, what's the complaint about now? Like, what are you going to complain about now? And I'm like, I'm glad we kept that 8 games, because the conference is going to cannibalize itself, and then the cream is always going to rise to the top, which has always been the case. But now, whether people don't realize it or not only with the new schedule, I'm going to imagine this playoff system is going to be tweaked a little bit too.
Oh, yeah. That's the 12 teams coming in 2024.
Right. Mm-hmm. And what you're going to understand is you thought you was mad at the SEC.
Exactly.
Watch how many teams you see don't get in this playoff. And you know what I'm saying? And then what you going to say? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, I'm with you, Shawty. Like, because I believe that 6 of those 12 spots going to be split between the Big Ten and the SEC. It's either 3-3, 4-2, whatever we'll want to say. But JV, are you like the rest of the panel, man? You looking forward to that game in Austin more so than the one in Tuscaloosa? Even though the one in Tuscaloosa, I've never been down to Bryant-Denny. The DKR Stadium is a nice venue, by the way.
I'm going to say I'm not 50-50 on it, because, as much as I hate Schlongren, I can't wait to walk down into Tuscaloosa and whoop the tusk off of Big Al. I'm just talking about, I cannot wait. I'm from Alabama.
That does sound good. That does.
Nothing gives me more pleasure.
It does.
Than to let them know that we done took the tusk back to Aston. Oh my God. But let me let y'all also, I'm going to tell you this, man. I'm looking forward to that Austin trip. Number one, because I've never been to Austin, heard a lot of great things about that city, that area. You know what I'm saying? One of my homies, shout out to Sean Ball, ex-tight end.
Yes, sir.
From UGA. Down in Austin. So I'm looking forward to that trip. I think it's going to be a dynamic game. And yeah, just like Sean said, man, we're just not familiar with these guys. We never really seen them before. It's going to be new. It's going to be exciting. This whole schedule is packed. Not just our schedule, though. The schedules in the SEC are so good next year.
Craziness.
There's a couple of games I might go to that ain't got Georgia in them.
But
if
listen,
you're a fan, you should love it. If you're a fan, you should love it.
Listen, if you are like Shaw to say, man, if you are a college football fan, nothing makes you happier than the 2024 SEC schedule, dog.
Wow.
Like,
now, what I don't like, I'm just being nitpicking here. I did not realize the Texas game was the last game of the year.
No, it's not. It's these.
Okay.
Yeah. So the only games that have dates on them, Georgia. Come on,
I see TBA. I got you.
Listen, we still get the pummel Georgia Tech while the family.
Hey, man, I'll say, now I don't like this shit. I don't want to play them at the end of the last game of the year.
So the only games that's got actual dates is those top four, top five. The rest of them, the SEC got to work out. We definitely keeping them Yellow Jackets for Thanksgiving dessert.
Rivalry,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, we need to goddamn heal up and what I'm saying, get back back and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's real talk. I know we got dealt, but you don't want to. That's it's already tough, man. And everybody beat up at that time of year, and it's truly going to be a battle of attrition. If you were to have a schedule like it is, the way it is on the screen now, man, that's a hell of a schedule.
Dog, I'm telling you, dog. I mean, we got Tennessee Tech and UMass, and them gonna be like bye weeks, man. We're gonna have to get people and rest them up and all of that good jazz, man, because all of these teams are gonna be gunning for the Dogs, man. But like you said, as a fan, I'm like JV too, man. When they was releasing the schedules, I'm like, boy, I need to see when we got an off week or something so I can go get in somebody else's stadium because there's a lot of good games out here, man.
If you look at that schedule, if you minus, the two, I guess it was just not. If you minus just Georgia Tech and who was that other team? Georgia Tech and
UMass.
I think UMass. If you minus them, everybody else on that schedule is probably a 7-win team.
Yeah, outside of Texas Tech, UMass, and Georgia Tech, I'm with you. I think
they're going bowling at least.
Yeah,
there you go.
I think they all going bowling. You are right. So it's hey man, it's live and listen, man. This SEC schedule, man. They Sankey trying to get 6 of these SEC teams in the playoffs with this scheduling. You know what I'm saying? I definitely think we in for 3 of them minimum. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that all work out. So early in the show, and this kind of goes to what Georgia's going to be doing this year and kind of next year. King Zay Green asked what we thought about Carson Beck. Shouty, okay. you want to take that one? We're going to close the show out with this right here. So what you think about Carson Beck for King Zay Green if he is still tuned in?
Well, I think Carson Beck, has earned the opportunity and the right to show us what he has. And if he is the number 1 quarterback, QB1, which he is at the moment, which I see him going into the season being, I have all faith in Curtis Smart in the decisions that he makes. So if he's our QB1, he's the best thing that we have, and we're going to play the best player. And not only are we going to play the best player, we generally have the best players in the country. So I really don't have any problem with Carson Beck not having seen him start a true live SEC game. I really don't have any problem. And I honestly think potentially from an arm and just talent standpoint, we may be better off than we have been in the past 2 or 3 years.
I'm on that boat. JV, what you got on it, man?
Hey, I just have to co-sign everything that Sean Parker just said. I mean, he just brought the gospel and he preached it like the word was meant to be preached. 16 is doing a phenomenal job, man. So
can I give a G, man?
When he says this is our guy, then we just shut up, man. If he says that a duck can pull a truck,
back up and hook the sucker up.
Like my partner CA told me, man, this is something that stuck in my head, man. Who am I? After seeing it, man, who am I? I can't say nothing. Who am I?
That's right.
Who am I?
CA, what's your thoughts? Anything different on Carson Beck, man, before we get up out of here?
Not a whole lot, man. I'm excited because I know Mike Bobo has a lot to prove, and he's got to put his faith in Carson Beck. We need performances. You got to put the proof in the pudding, and I feel like between Kirby and his decision making, and Mike Bobo understanding that he's up against it this year. Ty Monken won 2 ships. You got to come in and show and prove. I feel good about Mike Bobo and him selecting Carson Beck and moving forward. So we'll see how it turns out when the season starts. But I like Beck's talent. I really love his arm strength more than anything. His decision making is what we need to figure out, but I don't have any question in that. We just need to see how he develops. I'm anxious.
Yeah, I'm with all of y'all, man, and like Mike Bobo behind him, and like Ben Shaw's pointed out, like the receivers, we so deep at receiver, man. Like, that it could be that he is that good, or he could be that they make him look that good. Either way, I'm good.
Just fine.
I'm good with it.
I'll take it either way. I'll take it. They all equal the same. One plus one equals 2.
The only thing that we are in wait and see mode is if he's a gamer. We know Stetson showed us for 2 years he was a gamer, regardless of talent or lack thereof for arm strength or whatever it was. And Carson has all the physical tools. I'm just want to see if he's a gamer. And again, with all that talent around you, it's going to be kind of hard not to be that gamer.
And that schedule help you out too, man.
It do.
That schedule help you really figure some things out.
That early 4 games, them first 4 games, man, he got a lot of time to go out there and, correct some stuff that he needs to correct. And by the time we get into the meat of that schedule, he might be clicking on all cylinders, dog. And it might, listen, the NFL draft experts, not me, they think Carson Beck about to have a good year. So we'll see.
One and done, baby.
Hey, could be one and done. That's it, man.
You don't need to be, baby. You don't need to be.
Exactly. We got something coming.
We got them coming. Go ahead.
Before you leave, I want to give a little plug before we leave. Since I ain't got no merchandise on the RTA site, but I do want to give a plug to my damn opinion. Y'all see me tomorrow night live, man. Come check me out. I'm gonna be talking about current topics, man, and come in and give your damn opinion. Let me know what's happening.
That's right, man. Y'all make sure to search in YouTube, Shawty Parker, My Opinion tomorrow night, so y'all can find that, man. Hey, listen. Hey, I checked out the first show. He got something going, man. Y'all make sure y'all check out our boy, man, tomorrow. That's right, man. And as always, for all my co-hosts, Cool Cal, E-Rob, JV, CA, Shawty Parker, and all our fans, man, listen, always respect them hedges, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Go Dogs.
Subscribe to the channel, baby.
That's right.